Alright, what's good everyone? Recently Elden Ring Nightreign had its 1 year anniversary, and I know this video is coming a bit late, but I was a little preoccupied by, coincidentally, playing Nightreign. In what was one of the most experimental titles From Software has ever put out, diverging somewhat from what they normally go for. The new direction that Miyazaki went for did certainly stir up conversation for both good and bad. So, today I want to take a look at Nightreign as both a fan of From Software and a gamer who wants to be challenged. I want to give my thoughts on whether or not this experiment worked and what I think the future may very well have in store. Starting off, there's probably no better way to start any video like this by saying, I just love Nightreign, just like I love Elden Ring. Putting to one side all the criticisms, review scores, comparisons, stuff like that. All the fun and all the anger I felt can't be expressed through words alone. Now sure, you can make it as competitive as you want with Deep of Night and Everdark Sovereigns, but the core gameplay loop is as fun as you need them to be. Or at least as fun as I need them to be. It's almost as if FromSoft took the gameplay elements of their earlier mainline entries that are the most fun and put them in an almost on-demand style of game, which I think helps add to the fun feeling the core gameplay loop offers. And you don't need to replay a 100-hour plus game to refight your favourite boss. It's a relatively quick 30-minute plus experience that delivers all the highest of highs and lowest of lows of that classic Souls loop in a high-octane, fast-paced experience. And for a decent price too. You can't ask for better. With all that said, those are my honest thoughts. Unfortunately, all that praise also builds up to some of the biggest criticisms of Nightreign. There's a massive stigma in the gaming community towards live service games. Trust me, this channel is fully aware of that. Not to say it isn't warranted either. But when it was revealed Nightreign would be live service, it was treated as this almost sacrilegious concept. And even I thought, amidst my excitement, that it was a strange idea. And so, for the first 6 months or so, that's exactly how it went for the game's early lifespan. We'd receive a steady flow of updates and adjustments to deliver a more balanced game. Nightreign would receive additional content, completely free, in the form of the Everdark Sovereigns, but still to this day rotate their roster. New relics to grind in both the base game and the Deep of Night mode. And speaking of Deep of Night, that was also added completely free of charge. There was always something to do, and it kept this pattern for a good long while, and then it somewhat dried out, even once Nightreign finally received its first premium DLC, adding 2 new classes, a new map, and new boss in the Balancers and their Everdark version. The game was feeling back and full of life. And then it stopped. And now here we are on pretty much a 6-month dry streak of nothing happening. Now, live service does not always mean a game has to be littered and full to the brim of microtransactions, to the point of being pay to win. That's a slippery slope, and usually indicative of a company not putting player satisfaction first and foremost. Something which From Software like to do, even if their games feel like they want to rip your face off. Now, I personally would be somewhat happy spending $15 every 5 months or so for fresh new DLC for Nightreign. Because the problem isn't what's in the game itself. The problem is what's not in the game. FromSoft have created a game with potentially endless possibilities. The framework of the game is excellent for the most part. You could insert anything from the company's entire catalogue of games, and they'd only serve to enhance and improve the game. Okay, maybe not Armored Core 6, but it would be pretty funny. We could have the Souls-like experience here, but it just refuses to be so. It's like watching a new anime. You get through about 70% of it and you decide to go to sleep and watch the rest of it tomorrow. Except you don't watch it again because you forgot all about it. That's what Nightreign does. And there's an argument to be made about including past things from past games. But I then get the thought of, rather than recycling old stuff, they could add so much more new stuff. What would an Everdark version of Holster be like? Or Everdark Dredgelodge be like? What if the game was even more randomized, with field bosses not just being generic mid-tier bosses like Dragon 1 or Dragon 2? What if there was a night boss you accidentally stumbled across? What if shifting earth occurred during a run? We know they could trigger once you're back in the round table hold after a run. But imagine entering day 2 and you go from the Shrouded City to Mountaintop. It's always these thoughts of, oh, what if this thing happened, that are at the forefront of my mind when I think about this game. Now, with all this being said, I want to downright glaze the game right now. These bosses are some of the most well-crafted bosses in the company's catalogue. Whether they have incredible moves that leave you awestruck.
NANI?!
frustrating moves that leave you dumbfounded, or just outright gimmicks that make you go, Have the ever darks are challenging in a way where just pressing R1 and dodging is sometimes just not enough. Although true to nature, you can still approach them that way, for better or for worse. There's enough variation of difficulty in this game to where no two runs will ever be quite the same. From the boss you're going to be facing at the end, to the RNG of what weapons you get, in both base game and Deep of Night runs. And it's because of all this, in tandem with the way the Nightfarer's kits are designed, and new systems like the Spirit Surge, relic upgrades, and overall pace of the game, make it hard going back and trying pre-Nightreign gameplay. It just works, and it works in a fun way. And so that leaves us with the biggest question. Was Nightreign a success? Yes, it was. But that's not surprising since it comes from nowhere else but from software. I think a better question would be, did the experiment succeed? Yes, and I dare say it worked a little too well. It worked to a point where I find myself regularly going back to it, and every time I do, I get hit with the same feeling time and time again. What's next? Of course I'm excited for the next mainline entry into the Souls games, but I'm also excited for whatever From Software do next. And if they take what they learned from Nightreign and incorporate and improve upon it for their future games, I'm very excited to say it was money well spent. So it's been one whole year of Nightreign. And if this really is going to be the end of it, I wouldn't be too upset by it. It was never meant to be a game you hardcore grind for 6 hours every day. A quick hop on, do 2 to 3 runs and call it a day until the next time, which is usually the day after for me. And it's been very refreshing to have a game like this, but isn't super casual or anything. It's like FromSoft hit the nail on the head and created a niche I never knew I needed until I received it. So, Elden Ring Nightreign a year later, I still love it just as much, if not more. I know a lot of people probably skipped out on this game because of the live service aspect, and I don't blame you for it. It's often a slippery slope, but I implore you to reconsider that stance. Now, with all this yapping yapped, what are your thoughts on Elden Ring Nightreign a whole year later? Has your opinion changed? And does it still hold up in your estimations? Either way, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to leave a like on it and subscribe if you're new around here, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next one.